All right, hallelujah. We're back on once again, and I want to welcome you, those of you who are returning subscribers. And if it's your first time, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel so that we may get the word out. And that's the way it is when it comes to especially YouTube, because the algorithm sees those kind of factors like likes, shares, subscribers, and those types of factors. It's a beautiful opportunity to come back with a teaching on the 7 holy archangels. This being a follow-up to our most recent teachings, especially the last two, the one dealing with the 12 orders of the holy angels, and the following one that dealt with the 10 heavens and what Enoch saw in each heaven when he was taken by 2 holy angels all the way to the 7th heaven, and then picked up from there by Archangel Gabriel and taken to the 10th heaven. So as I mentioned in that teaching, we shall be looking at the 7 holy archangels. That is our topic for today, and let's get on with it. First of all, we shall look at some scriptures, because you see, those of us coming from a Eurocentric Christian background, or what we call Christianity in contemporary terms, that from the scriptures, from the what is known as the Bible, and I've told you many times that the Bible simply means Biblia, which is a library. So the Catholic canon, I put together 66 books and called them the Bible. And out of those 66 books, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, we only learned of 2 archangels, Michael or Michael and Gabriel. So when some of us see the heading about 7 holy archangels, now it's going to make some of us wonder why, where does that come from? But maybe it's your first time, but there is more than 66 books of scriptures for 2 reasons. One, the people who put together the so-called Bible as we have it today, actually there are several versions of the Bible, and if you look back at the King James version, 1611 version, it has 16 books between Malachi and Matthew that were removed by the so-called canon, and they give different excuses to remove those books, but we now know that they were actually removing those books so that they could deceive the whole world. In the book of Revelation, the Bible talks about the beast, basically the Roman Empire, Rome and European Union and America, comprising of the first beast and the second beast in the book of Revelation. The first beast being European Union, the second beast being America. And we see that the scriptures tell us that the beast will deceive the world, and that's what has happened through Eurocentric Christianity. And for that happen, they had to remove the books that would have made it impossible for them to deceive the world. So they removed the 16 books between Malachi and Matthew, and they also kept out the book of Enoch, or the books of Enoch. There's 2 books of Enoch. They also kept out Jesha, or Yesha, which is the book of the upright. They also kept out the book of the Jubilees and several other books. So out of those other extra biblical sources, I don't like to call them extra biblical sources because it sounds to a contemporary Christian, it sounds like they're not scripture, but let me call them those other scriptures, the hidden scriptures. they do reveal to us that there's more than 2 archangels. Another reason why some of the books anyway were not in this so-called Bible is because the Most High himself said that some of the books will be hidden and would in the last generation be given to some of us to share with the rest. And I'll be showing you the specific scriptures in which the Most High told that to Enoch. And also when we look at second Esdras chapter 14, I believe, from verse 39 through like 47 there, we see Esdras, who was given the revelation and ability to write the books that have been destroyed. He was told to hide some of the books to be given to the wise among us, the children of Israel, and the rest were to be left open to the worthy and the unworthy. So the 66 books we have in the most common Bible, those are for both the worthy and the unworthy, but there are others that the Most High had hidden so that they could be revealed to some of us in this last generation to share with the rest. And it's a big blessing, an honor, and a privilege for me to be able to bring these scriptures to us. And I humble myself and give the Most High all the glory for that. So we shall first start with the scriptures that talk about holy angels in the Bible as we've known it for many years. And then we're going to look at the hidden scriptures that tell us that there is actually more than 2 holy archangels. Then we're going to zoom in on those 7 holy archangels, particularly in the books of Enoch, and cross-referencing as necessary. And then we shall look at some concluding revelations. There's a typo there. Okay, so first off, the scriptures in the Bible that talk about archangels. Now, first off, we see in the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 12 and 13. And actually, we have this copy here on this slide. We see that verse 12 says, "Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God," alluding to fasting, "thy words were heard, and I'm come for thy words." Okay, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia." So very quickly here, we see that Daniel, if you know the story, he fasted for 21 days. And one of the holy angels was dispatched to bring the answers to Daniel. But that holy angel was resisted by the prince of the kingdom of Persia. Now, what does that mean? I know, again, those of us coming from Eurocentric or Christian background, before the awakening, when I say those coming from, I mean before we awoke to the fact or to the truth that we are the true and genuine children of Israel, the Negroes, the Bantus, before we came to that awakening, which is in fulfillment of Ezekiel 37, dry bones coming back to life, a lot of us were in Christianity, Eurocentric Christianity, and others in Islam and other religions. And again, that also is prophesied. If you look at Deuteronomy 28, the scriptures tell us that we shall be scattered among the heathens. We will be they'll enslave some of us, and there we shall serve other gods, even gods of wood and stone. Gods of wood referring to Christianity, cross, and other idols, and then the god of stone referring to Kaaba stone, which is Islam. So not surprising that a lot of our people are in those two religions, and others in a few other idolatrous religions, because we are not supposed to be going after those other gods. We are supposed to be serving the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's what the awakening is about, realizing that we are God's chosen people who were scattered because our ancestors rebelled from the Most High God. They sought after other gods and they departed from the law, statutes, and the commandments. And for that reason, in fulfillment of the prophecies, including the prophecies we find in Deuteronomy 28, verse 16 through 68, we were scattered among the heathens. I mean, even Hoshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ himself, said, we shall be scattered to all the kingdoms of the earth, and then ultimately will be gathered back, referring to the second Exodus, which is very near now. So this awakening is very important for us, and it prepares us for our second Exodus, through eventually taking us back to the promised land. And so when we see Daniel here, Daniel was given a vision of the four kingdoms. Well, actually, it was the king. The king had a dream, and Daniel was given the interpretation. The king of Babylon, the first Babylon. All right, and in that vision, there were four beasts. Okay, the first being referring to the first Babylonian kingdom. The next one being the Medo-Persian kingdom, and this is the transition now that was taking place at that time, from the Babylonian to the Medo-Persian, kingdom. Actually, that was already, you can see, in the Persian kingdom. Then the next one was the Greek kingdom, or the beast representing the Greek kingdom, or the Grecian kingdom. And the last one will be the Roman Empire, which is what we are in today. And actually, when Jesus was born, that was the empire that was ruling, the Roman Empire. That's why, Pontius Pilate, actually, he was part of the, Roman government when Jesus was being tried under false accusations. And at that same time, you remember Jesus said that the mystery of iniquity doth work already, meaning that the Roman Empire, which is the mystery of iniquity, today represented by the European Union, America, and Russia, which are the three heads of the eagle representing the Roman Empire, it was at work at the time of the birth of Yahushua HaMashiach, or the time of the birth of Jesus. And it has been cryptic, kind of hiding itself, and actually posing as the people of God, both in terms of claiming to be the Jews and also the Christians or the church. So that is the Roman Empire. And before that, there was the Grecian or the Greek Empire. And that is why they removed the books between Malachi and Matthew, because those are the books that talk about the Greek Empire. You can read about the Greek Empire in other secular history books, but you can't find it in the Bible. Why? Because they removed the Apocrypha, or the hidden books between Malachi and Matthew, and those books are the ones that talk about the Grecian or the Greek Empire. And so here with Daniel, what we learn is that there was a prince of the kingdom of Persia who withstood the holy angel that was sent to take the message or the answer to Daniel. We who are in Christianity, before awakening to our Israelite heritage, we used to refer to these scriptures here to talk about, territorial spirits. There were teachings about territorial spirits, and they were using this example to do those kind of teachings. Or some of us were, maybe have done teachings on that, or touched that in passing in other teachings in our Christian sermons. Now, this actually, what this does tell us, because this prince of Persia was a demonic prince, it alludes to the fact that the heathen nations have their gods. small g God. All right. And for us, the children of Israel, our God is the Most High God, uppercase G or D. He is the Most High God, the only true and living God. And those other gods of the nations are idols. There are songs and scriptures that allude to that or confirm that. Now, you'll find scriptures that say that when the Most High divided the nations, alluding to the Tower of Babel. Remember, at the Tower of Babel, the Most High came and confused their tongues. So the scriptures tell us that when the Most High divided the nations, he did so according to the number of the children of Israel. Meaning what? That when you you do cross-referencing and look at other scriptures, precept upon precept, you find that this means, or the scriptures tell us that what happened was that the nations were divided into 70 nations, 70. Okay, Shavim, I think, in Hebrew. And that was because, remember, the scriptures tell us that when the Most High divided the nations, he did so according to the number of the children of Israel who went to Mizraim, or Egypt, the first time. And what that means is that when Yaakov or Jacob took his whole family to join Joseph in Egypt, the number of the children of Israel in that move were 70. And accordingly, the Most High divided the nations into 70. And then it turns out that the nations have their gods. And if you check very clearly, you see that. So much so that even Jesus said that the prince of this world, even Satan, cometh soon. Referring to the prince, which world was Yahushua HaMashiach referring to? Is the world of Esau. If you have seen some of my other teachings about the last days and the scriptures I shared from this book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, 7, there, you've actually, you'll find, especially from chapter 6, verse 7 through 9, you'll find that there's two worlds. The world of Esau, which is the present world that's just about to come to an end, and the God of this world is the devil. Azazel, Baphomet, which is actually part of the, the Grecian Empire, and also Satan himself. And so when this world of Esau comes to an end, then the world of Jacob, the world of Israel will start, and with the Most High God, taking back full control and giving the kingdom to Yahushua HaMashiach, even Jesus, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And those of us who overcome or persevere to the end, we shall rule and reign with him, as the scriptures tell us. So this is anyway, and I said all that in passing, but here we see the mention of Michael, one of the archangels. Okay, and then quickly other scriptures that allude to the two archangels in the so-called Bible, 66 books. Daniel 12 verse 1, we see Michael again mentioned, the great prince who stands guard, excuse the typos, over the children of Israel shall stand up. And then we see 1 Thessalonians 4:16, the Lord will descend with the voice of an archangel, and the archangel is not specified. Jude, the stepbrother of Jesus, and that's a teaching for another day, a different teaching. Jesus was born, or Yahushua HaMashiach was born through Virgin Mary, and Mary and Joseph, they didn't have physical relations. Actually, by the time Joseph married Mary through it was lots that were cast at the temple when Mary reached puberty, when she was at 12, because she had been dedicated to the temple. When you look at the Gospel of James, one of the hidden Gospels that has been revealed, you will see the background story about Mary. And so when the time came for her to reach puberty, she could no longer stay at the church because of getting into that time when women or girls start getting their flowers. So they prayed. The priests and elders prayed, and the Most High told them to cast lots, and the lot fell on Joseph, who by that time was a widower. At that time, in fact, Joseph was 90 years old, 90, and he had lost his wife a year or two before that. But with the first wife, he had sons. He had other children, and most of them were grown up by that time anyway. There was only 2 small boys still at home. And so the Lord fell on Joseph, and he took Mary to his home, just left her there and went back to his carpentry work. And Mary basically grew up and raising the 2 little children that were at home. And when she reached 16, that is when the holy angel Gabriel appeared to her and told her that she would be receiving a child through the power of the Holy Spirit. And when Joseph came back home after several months being out for a long time, he found her expectant, and that's when he was contemplating divorcing her. But again, the holy angel appeared to him and told him not to do that because the child in her was of the Holy Spirit. So I'm saying all that to emphasize that the virgin birth is sound doctrine, and there are scriptures that confirm that. Okay. And anyway, so when I say that Jude is the step brother of Jesus, I mean to say that Jude was born out of the first wife of Joseph. Jesus, or Yahushua HaMashiach, was the only child of Mary. All right, that's another whole teaching for another time. Anyway, Jude 1 here, Jude says Michael, the archangel, when he disputed with the devil about the body of Moses. So there again we see an allusion to the archangel Michael. Revelation 12:7, and there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels waging war with the dragon. And that actually is kind of precepted by Daniel 12, because in Daniel 12 we learn that Archangel Michael, or Michael, is the one who stands or fights for the children of Israel. So here also we see him fighting. All right, now let's digress very quickly and look at those scriptures from the King James Bible very, very quickly. Let's kind of go in order from Daniel 10. Let's go to the book of Daniel very quickly. We see, I like to give us an opportunity to interact, with the scriptures, get a little bit more close and intimate with the scriptures. It's beautiful. Daniel 10, verse 21. And what do we see there? But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael your prince. Okay, so this was an angel speaking to Daniel, and it refers to Archangel Michael as the prince of who? The children of Israel, because he was talking to Daniel. Okay, then we're gonna go to Daniel 10. Actually, back up a little bit, we skipped here. Daniel 10 verse 12 and 13. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. We already saw that on the slide. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, so the archangels are the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. All right, so we see that confirmed in the Bible, the scriptures I showed you on the slide. We're going to move on to Daniel 12. And in Daniel chapter 12, we shall look at verse 1. And verse 1 says, and at that time, which is now the time we are getting very close to, because it's talking about the end, in these very last days that we are really, actually we are in the beginning or in the midst of these final days, when ultimately Michael, or Michael, the prince who stands for us, the true children of Israel, will stand and fight on our behalf, with other holy angels supporting him against the evil forces. And at that time shall Michael, or Michael, stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people, which are the children of Israel, which is us, the Negroes, the Bantus, shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book of life. Okay, and you know, we have scriptures like Psalms 148 verse 14 that tell us the saints are the children of Israel. So salvation is for the children of Israel. Why? Because among other reasons, we are scattered among the heathen nations, and there we are enslaved and oppressed. All right, so you saw that from Daniel 1 right here, that at this time, the last time, Michael will stand to fight, and at this time we shall be delivered from our enemies, as you see in Luke chapter 2. Okay, I want to very quickly show you that the saints, the children of Israel, both young men and maidens, old men and children, let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. Verse 14, he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, right there, even of the children of Israel, are people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord. So the saints are the children of Israel. And so when we see in Daniel, when you see him being told that in the last days his people who are written in the book of life will be delivered, that is a confirmation here. So that's this in Psalms 148:14 precepts this one here in referring to children of Israel as the saints who will be delivered in the last times. And you can look at other teachings in the channel that talk about what will happen to the nations, the heathens who call themselves Christians. Okay, they will serve in the kingdom, in the millennial kingdom. There'll be bond servants and handmaids. Okay, you can look at the teaching that talks about your biblical DNA, nationality, and identity uncovered, something like that. All right. So let's move on here to the next scripture. And this will be 1 Thessalonians 4:16. That's in the 1 Thessalonians 4:16. We saw that on the slide, and it says, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. So this is talking about the second coming of Yahushua HaMashiach, when he comes to deliver us and take us back to the promised land, because that is when the true Israelites go back to the promised land, not before, not 1948, not according to the Balfour Declaration of 1948. No, that was not the true return of the true Israelites. All right, this will happen when Yahushua HaMashiach or Jesus Christ comes back, and he'll come with the voice of the archangel. There will be a shout in the voice of the archangel. So this is one of the references we see. Alluding to the archangels, but again, the archangels in this context is not mentioned. It could be Michael, Gabriel, or one of the others, Uriel. Okay, moving on to Jude 1. Let's quickly go to Jude 1. Jude is next to Revelation back here, and I think there's only one. There's only one chapter in Jude, verse 9. Jude actually confirms in the quotes from the book of Enoch. Let me say that. Okay, so Jude confirms the authenticity of the book of Enoch. Okay, verse 9. Yet Michael, the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, does not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuked thee. So here Jude was talking about respecting spiritual authority, and there is hierarchy in the spirit realm. You know, even the wicked spirits, they recognize that, and when one deals spiritually, even when one is doing deliverance, you need to recognize that. And also when dealing with the holy angels, there is also hierarchy. So anyway, Jude was saying that the archangel Michael himself said to the devil, the Lord rebuke you. Okay, so he kind of, if you look at the story of creation and the creation of the holy angels, the creation of the devil and other chief princes, you find that actually the devil was among the angels that were created from fire. The devil was the first one. So he was in the same level with Michael. All right, Uriel came before that. We shall be seeing that when I continue with the teaching on the secrets of Enoch. From where we stopped, basically where we stopped was when Enoch reached the presence of the Most High. So we shall go back and pick that up and see the conversation that the Most High had with Enoch. And in that conversation, the Most High himself reveals that Uriel was the first angel to come out of the light when the Most High called forth. The devil was created later on in a group of the princes, and that's why he was very prideful, because he was the first in that batch that was created from the rocks of fire. Okay, but anyway, spiritual authority, another topic for another time. And finally, Revelation 12:7. Revelation 12:7. Remember, we are looking at the scriptures in the present Bible as we know it, that refer to the archangels. So far, how many archangels have we seen? In fact, even Gabriel we have not, because I have not brought up the scriptures that talk about Gabriel. Okay, but anyway, Revelation 12:7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, referring to Satan, and the dragon fought and his angels. Okay, so we do see that Michael is mentioned over and over again as an archangel, and I want to show us very quickly one reference to Gabriel. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth. And this is actually referring to the story I was telling you about the pregnancy of Mary. Okay, so it's referring to that time when Gabriel was sent to give the news to Mary that she will be with child. Okay, and so there you see the whole story here, and this is one of the chapters where we see Gabriel being mentioned. All right, and as you can see, it talks about Mary, that encounter that Mary had with the holy angel, and the whole story is told here. All right, the angel came unto her, and in the 6th month the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. So it's plain and simple. Mary was a virgin. Any camp or anybody teaching that Joseph was the biological father of Jesus, that's heretic and false teaching. Okay. Anyway, we see a mention of the Archangel Gabriel. All right. So let's go back to okay, you can see those scriptures that we just looked at. Oh yeah, we skipped this one. Daniel 9:21-27. Also, while I was in prayer, Gabriel, the man I had seen in the earlier vision, came to me in swift flight. So actually Daniel encountered both the archangels Michael or Michael and Gabriel. We'll see the meanings of their names. Okay, so let's transition to the hidden books that reveal more about the other archangels, holy archangels. So we see from the book of the Secrets of Enoch, chapter 11, the scriptures show something very interesting here, because this is actually okay, yes, it's actually from the Secrets of Enoch, chapter 99. This is the one I was referring to, where the Most High spoke to Enoch. All right, and this is where the Most High spoke to Enoch when Enoch reached the 10th heaven. And in the last generation, I'll show them the books written by your hand and by the hands of your fathers. And the guardians of the earth will show them to faithful men that do my will, who shall not call my name in vain. And they shall speak to that generation, and afterwards they that shall read it will be glorified at the end more than the first. And this is that prophecy being fulfilled right now, because the Most High has revealed these books to us, and that's why I humbly bring this to you, because the Most High has revealed these books to me, and I'm sharing with you. So this prophecy is being fulfilled. We are the last generation. We are seeing the end of this world of Esau, and looking with blessed anticipation for the beginning of the world of Jacob, or the kingdom of Israel. All right. And here we see also the first book of Enoch, chapter 104, verse 7-9. Now will I point out a mystery. Many sinners shall turn and transgress against the word of uprightness. They shall speak evil things, they shall utter falsehoods, execute great undertakings, and compose books in their own words. But when they shall write all my words correctly in their own languages, they shall neither change or diminish them, but shall write them all correctly, all which from the first I have uttered concerning them. What is this saying? That the heathens, primarily the Roman Empire, and also Ishmael with their Quran, but when it comes to the Christianity or the Bible, you know, Esau, the Roman Empire, they have tampered with it. They have mistranslated it to include themselves in the salvation and blessings that belong to Jacob, them being Esau. They've also written fake books, and I have seen some of them. It's very easy to identify them if you have the Spirit of God. All right, they have written fake books to try and throw us off. Especially this time when we awakened, there was a floodgate of false books that they released. But again, with the discernment, or with the discerning spirit, you flag them off. So the Bible says they will try to do that, but even as they do that, all the parts that talk about how they will deceive the world and how they will eventually be judged, they have left them intact. They were somehow so self-deceived that they forgot to remove the parts that talk about their own judgment. And so now that we are waking up and realizing who we are and who they are, we go to the scriptures and find that they forgot, or they were not able to remove the parts that talk about their own judgment. And this again fulfills that scripture in Enoch 1:4, verse 7 through 9. Continuing to verse 10, another mystery I point out: to the righteous and the wise shall be given books of joy. Again, this now confirms, or it actually, it's the precept for these precepts, that because the book of Enoch comes before the secrets of Enoch. So these precepts that there, because it says, another mystery also I point out: to the righteous and the wise shall be given books of joy, of integrity, and of great wisdom. To them shall books be given, in which they shall believe, and in which they shall rejoice. And all the righteous shall be rewarded, who from this shall acquire the knowledge of every upright path. So Enoch himself said that, and he had actually had that from, the Most High himself. Basically, although the book of Enoch comes before the secret of Enoch, the secret of Enoch is more like a journal. Both of them are like journals, but they corroborate one another. They show what Enoch was shown in the heavens. And now I want to show you this. See the book right here. This is the book that I am referring to. This is the book of Enoch. And I know, and the books of Enoch, two in one here. Excuse the shimmering there from the light, but that's how this is how the book of Enoch looks like. And talking about this specific Ethiopic version from Hebrew Israelite scriptures, we see that okay, so that's the book right here. See that? The book and the secrets of Enoch. All right. It has both Hebrew and English, as you have seen. All right. So let me take you very quickly to chapter 11, right there, verse 99, the secrets of Enoch, where you see what? And in the last generation, I will show them the books written by your hand. This is the Most High telling Enoch, and by the hands of your fathers, and the guardians of the earth will show them. The guardians of the earth are the holy angels. So these books are revealed to us by the holy angels, and they've then some of our brethren have printed them out, and here we are. And the guardians of the earth will show them to faithful men that do my will, who shall not call my name in vain, and they shall speak to the generation, and afterwards they that shall read it will be glorified at the end more than the first. Okay, so this is fulfilled in our time. It's being fulfilled right now. I want to let me go back to this here, and we're going to move on to the next slide and begin to focus on the 7 holy archangels. So what we just saw in that scripture that I was just, or the scripture that I was just showing you, is that the Most High himself said that certain books will be hidden. but in the last generation they'll be revealed to us. And so that's why I told you at the beginning that those of you, or those of us coming from Eurocentric Christianity, or Christianity as we knew it, we only knew two holy archangels, Gabriel and Michael. Then I told you the seven, or the rest of the five, are revealed with this, or in the hidden scriptures, that as we have seen, the Most High said he will release them to us in the last days. Both that were hidden out of the instructions of the Most High, and those that, especially Esau, the Roman Empire, went another mile to hide more, because the Apocrypha was in King James 1611 version, but they removed it. So that, and that's why it's called the Apocrypha, because it means the hidden book. So out of those hidden books, we learn that there's 7 holy archangels. Okay, very quickly here, the 7 holy archangels. We are in the third bullet point of our teaching here. The last one will be wrapping up here shortly. So those holy angels are shown here, but I'll come back to this as a summary. In the meantime, I want to digress very quickly and go back to the book here. All right. And in this book, we see that, chapter 20 of the book of Enoch. This is not the Secrets of Enoch, but the first book of Enoch, if you want to call it that way. Let's read very quickly here. It talks about the name and functions of the 7 archangels. And these are the names of the holy archangels who watch. And that's cross-referencing Revelations 1:7. 1, Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Sheol. Sheol is hell. Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the Rukot, or spirits of men. So these names have meanings. You see the prefix, and then there is a suffix El, referring to God. So their meaning are associated with the work or their relationship with God. Okay. Uriel, Raphael, Reuel. In some of the versions call him Reguel. Reuel, friend of Elohim, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Luminaries are like stars, So, and you see some of the versions that they translate this a little bit differently. All right. Next, Michael, one of the holy angels, set over the present and upon the goodliest man and over the nation. You see what nation? The nation of Israel. We've already seen that. So all these referring to the present and the goodliest of men. This is alluding to the saints, and we already saw that the saints are children of Israel, whose names are written in the book of life. Sarakiel, vine of Elohim, one of the holy angels who is over the Rokot, or spirits who sin in the mind. So spirits who sin in the mind. So that's referring to iniquity. Because sin, or the contemplation of sin, begins in the mind. So, and God sees the heart. He sees, the sin before it's even conceived, And then here we move on to the next one, Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is over the Garden of Eden and the dragons and the cherubim. Luke 1:19 is a cross-reference. And very quickly, if we may look at those cross-references. Luke 1:19. What is Luke 1:19 saying? Luke. Oh, amazing. It's right here. So we were already in Luke. Perfect. Let's go. All right. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and I'm sent to speak unto thee and to show thee these glad tidings. That's what we are already looking at with regard to Mary and the virgin birth, which is sound doctrine. All right, contrary to what some of the camps teach. Okay, beware of that. Remiel, Elohim is elevated, one of the holy angels who rejoiced to Elohim over the resurrection. All right, and we're going to see the meanings of those seven holy archangels, the names of those seven holy archangels all over again. This is an electronic version of the book of Enoch, the same chapter 20. Very quickly, I want to show you some of the differences that I was alluding to when it comes to translations. And these are the names of the holy angels who keep watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, namely the holy angel of the spirits of men. Is that what we saw here? Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Sheol. You see what they do? See what they do? I thought Raphael is the one. Yeah, look at that. Raphael is the one who is over the spirits of men. But what do they tell us? See? They tell us that Uriel is over the spirit of men. Straight out, what does this show you? What does this show us? This shows us what we read in when we looked at this scripture here, right here. They will change, yeah. They will change. They will write their own things. They will tweak scriptures. That's the confirmation right there. All right, that's what it shows us. All right, but the Ethiopic version, which is what we are reading here, is the oldest Bible, and it has not. I know they have, when they translate it into English, they have tweaked some of the things, but not so much. Okay. So going back here, you have already noticed that. Then we have Reguel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world and on the lights. What did we see here? I told this is Reuel. They call him Reguel there. One of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. So they separate world and luminaries, but this is very specific here. All right, and then they say what? You see, even the order. Imagine that they have changed even the order of the verses, because Michael comes later. So they put Michael, one of the holy angels, namely the one put in charge of the best part of humankind, in charge of the nation. They don't want to say that this is the best. This is referring to the nation of Israel, the children of Israel. You see, this is the deception they have deceived the whole world with, by kind of pretending to be, half of them pretending to be the children of Israel, and then the other half pretending to be included in salvation and all that. Sarakia, one of the holy angels who is in charge of the spirits of men, who causes the spirits. Listen to that. Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah, they say in charge of the spirits of men who cause the spirits to sin. What is that? You see how they tweak the scriptures? Sarakia, one of the holy angels who is over the Rukot, or spirits who sin in the mind. You see those differences? In the awakening, you'll find that. That when you awaken to the truth, you have so many questions, especially wherever you're coming from, whether you're coming from Christianity, Islam, or whatever, you'll have so many questions. You're just like a newborn baby. And sometimes people come with they are upset because they feel, how come? They feel like, all the years they've invested in Christianity are being, turned into a mockery. So that's why some people who are not careful resist the awakening. But when you come with that, when you come with a healthy attitude, you'll have so many questions and they'll be answered. And in the process, you'll understand a lot of things. So when at the same time, you find the enemy has set out traps with this kind of tweaked scriptures to confuse, just like we saw, it prophesied in Enoch chapter 104. Okay, So, but with the help of the Spirit of God and sound teachers, you'll be able to navigate through the awakening and learn all the truth. Just like again we saw, all right, we see all that here. The last verse, here, another mystery I also point out: to the righteous and the wise shall be given books of joy, of integrity, and of great wisdom. To them shall books be given in which they shall believe, and in which they shall rejoice. And all the righteous shall be rewarded, who from these, meaning these books, shall acquire the knowledge of every upright path. When you hear camps or individuals rubbishing the book of Enoch and all the hidden books, that's a red flag. It means one or two things: either they are not righteous, or they are not wise, or both. And it means that those books have not been given to them. So you want to be very careful, because some of those people are the same ones who teach against the virgin birth and other sound doctrine like baptism, water baptism. There are some camps that teach against that. So when you are new in the awakening, those are some of the things to watch out for, so that you will not be deceived or confused. Okay, so let's go back to this version here, and it moves on to talk about Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is in charge of the serpents and the garden that they refuse to name, and the cherubim. You see how they confuse? That's how they include all gardens. If care is not taken, they will say this is the angel of horticulture. This is the Garden of Eden. Why they cannot write that, I don't understand. Okay, so those are some of the things. With all the translations actually from that departing from King James Version, that has been the goal. The goal has been to remove any reference to black or to who the real, true children of Israel are, and including everybody. What is basically called replacement theology. That's what all those other versions have done, and they have watered down the scriptures to the point that, I think nowadays, as I mentioned before, there is a horse Bible, dogs Bible, athletics Bible, all kinds of Bibles they've come up with, which is just mocking the word of the Most High. Okay, so Gabriel, and I went around. Okay, so that was it. So they have kind of even shuffled they have shuffled the scriptures, even the order that we saw from this Ethiopic version here. See that? The first one here was Uriel, Raphael, Reuel, Michael, Sarakiel, Gabriel, and Ramiel. They didn't even, come to think of that, where is Ramiel here? There's no Ramiel. Am I missing something? Watch. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have actually 5 archangels instead of 7. Imagine that. Yeah, imagine that. Because there is 7 right here. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So where did they take the 2? You see the kind of mischief we are talking about? That's why I'm taking this time, because if you're new in the awakening, those are some of the landmines that you come across. And over the last couple of years, I've been ferreting out the false books and those kind of things. I haven't exhausted everything, but there's a lot there. Okay, this is Jubilees. Okay, may I give you a quick snippet of that? Okay, this is Jubilee chapter 2. And the angel of the presence spoke to Moshe according to the word of Yahuwah, saying, write the complex history of the creation, how in 6 days Yahuwah Elohim finished all his works and all that he created, and kept Shabbat on the 7th day, and sacrificed it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, Shamayim, all the 10 heavens now, and the earth, and the waters, and all the Ruachot, or spirits, which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification. This is the first day, people. That's when the angels were created. Genesis does not tell us that, okay? Genesis does not give us these details, okay? and the waters, and all the Ruachot which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the Ruachot of fire, and the angels of the Ruachot of winds, and the angels of the Ruachot of clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of all hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and the thunder, and of the lightning, and the angels of the Ruachot of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, or fall, and of summer, and of all the Ruachot of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. So, and he created the abysses, and the darkness, and evening, and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon he saw his works, and praised him, and lauded before him, and on account of all of his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. Listen to that. And so what we see here is that the holy angels were created on day 1. And we also see that hell, abysses, the pit, was created on day 1. Abysses right there, darkness and all that, and the Ruachot of all his creatures. Which what does that tell us? Even our spirits as human beings, we are created on day 1. And if we read, actually, I've done. There's a full teaching I have done on this chapter. I'll edit that and share it. It shows us that we were chosen before the creation, just like the scriptures tell us. We were chosen as the children of Israel, as God's chosen people. The Most High, knowing how each and every one of us would live, he chose us. And I think actually you get that also from one of the recent teachings I did on the 10 heavens. We saw that there also. When Enoch was having that conversation in heaven, on the 10th heaven, that came up that we were chosen before the creation of, of everything else. I wanted you to see the creation of all the spirits, including the holy angels, on day 1. Okay. So, and then this is from the Sefer, which I want now to compare. I want us to compare what is in the Sefer in Enoch. The Sefer has Enoch, the book of Enoch, chapter 20. So there we are. This is chapter 20. Let me hold it up a little bit for the reading camera here, so you get a better view. All right. These are the names of the angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is over clamor and terror. You see now the tweakers? This is the world and Sheol. Raphael, one of the holy angels, who is over the Ruachot of men. That's okay. And this means like when people die, Raphael is in charge of where the spirits go. We see that in other books of Enoch anyway. I don't want to digress too much. We are already at 1 hour and I need to be wrapping up. Raguel, one of the holy angels. But the most important thing is that you learn. This is not a seeker-friendly teaching. We are learning. We are going back to the basics. Yeah, all these scriptures have been hidden for a long time, so we need to delve into them and ravish them. Okay, so Raphael, one of the holy angels, who is over the Ruachot of men. Raguel, one of the holy, this is Reuel in the Ethiopic. Raguel, one of the holy angels, who inflicts punishment on the world and the luminaries. So in the Ethiopic, we see that he inflicts punishment on the world of luminaries. Michael, because we already see that, Uriel is over the earth. But see that they tweak again there. Anyway, moving on here. Michael, one of the holy angels, who is over mankind virtue. You see how again he tweaks mankind virtue. And what does the Ethiopic tell us? The most pleasant of men, who are Israelites, commands the nation. Listen to that. We read that again. Michael, one of the, look, you see, I told you, this person who has written these, who has translated or published, let me use the word published. The person who has published these Sefer is one of them that claim to be Jews but are not. They are Romans. Okay, you already know that if you watch other videos. So he's one of the Romans who are the Amalekites in Israel today, or some of them elsewhere in the world, who claim to be Jews but they are not. They are children of Esau, right? So you see now what they do when they write. They, as I told you, in fulfillment to Enoch 104, verse 7 through 9, he comes and changes. He says what? Michael, one of the holy angels, who is of a mankind virtue, commands the nations. He makes it plural. What nations? We saw that Michael is in charge of the nation of Israel. That's what they have done even with the gospel. When Jesus said, "Go ye into all the world, go ye into all the nation," meaning the whole nation of Israel, which is scattered around the world. He told the disciples, "Go to all the nation, northern and southern kingdom of Israel, and preach the good news." What did the Edomites do? They came and translated that as, "Go into all the nations of the world," kind of alluding to, you see what I mean? The gospel was supposed to be taken to the whole nation of Israel, and by virtue of that, it will be, because the nation of Israel will be scattered around the world. That's how even other nations will hear the gospel. You see the difference? It's not what they try to imply. They imply that the gospel was to be taken to the nations as a priority. No, the gospel goes to the nations because the children of Israel are scattered among them. Well, think about that. Okay, but I wanted to say that they tweak scriptures to include other nations. That is part of their replacement theology. Okay, Sarakiel, one of the holy angels, who is over the ruach of the children of men that transgress. Okay, fair enough. Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the serpents, over paradise, and over cherubim. Now, how many? I didn't even notice this before, but let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, they left out the seventh archangel. All right, you see that? You notice what they do? They do tweak scriptures like that. All right, so I really wanted to make that distinction because you'll be confused if you don't know what's going on, but that's what's going on. They do tweak. And here let's go back to base here, the Ethiopic version, whom the Most High has used to preserve the scriptures. We have Uriel. Okay, let me bring that, okay, so we have Uriel, Raphael, Ruel, which they are calling Raguel, Michael, Sarakiel, Gabriel, and Remiel. How many are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we see these holy angels referred, alluded to, 7 of them, not 5, not 6, but 7 of them alluded to in some of the 66 books of the Bible. Yeah, but if one is not careful, you go to the Sefer or to some of these online versions, like this one here. Here they snitch 2. They present 5. Then the one we just saw, the Sefer presents 6, hides 1. What's all that about? You see what we're talking about? And what is that? It fulfills what is prophesied in Enoch chapter 104. All right, you see that? The book of Enoch is legit, and confirms. It tells us prophetically that they would try and tweak scriptures and include themselves and all that kind of thing. All right. So anyway, let's go back to our presentation here as we wrap up. All right, so these scriptures are fulfilled. You have seen for yourself. Beautiful. Okay, so let's summarize all that noise, intellectual noise or whatever kind of noise we want to call it. Because you see, I wanted you to see the various versions and what they are doing, because they are fulfilling Enoch 104, trying to deceive. Another scripture that said that they'll deceive the whole world. Okay, so let's kind of now clean that up with the summary here. The 7 holy archangels are Uriel, which means Elohim is my light. And we see that in the book of Enoch chapter 20 verse 2. All right, Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Sheol, which is hell. Surprise, surprise, some of the camps that renounce the books of Enoch and others, some of them teach there is no hell. Be careful. Be careful out there when you watch those kind of teachings, because they're not truthful, they're not scriptural. All right, Raphael. So Uri, by the way, Uriel means Elohim is my light. Uri is light. And this is the first angel that came out. I'll show you later on when I do the next teaching from the book of the seed of Enoch, where we stopped last time. After Enoch got to heaven, we'll continue from there at some point, and I'll show you that. Uriel is the first angel that came out of light, and that's why, he's called Uriel. Elohim is my light. All right, and he is the one who is over the world and over Sheol. Now, this is the same actually holy angel who comes in the book of Revelation. He comes down as a star with the keys of the bottomless pit, because the keys of the bottomless pit are in the possession of Jesus, Yahushua HaMashiach. They're not in the possession of fallen angels. Okay, so people misinterpret that as a fallen angel in the book of Revelation. No, it is Uriel. Raphael or Raphael. Rapha means healing. You remember in Christianity we were talking of how many names of Jehovah. It was saying is actually the name is Yahweh, not Jehovah. Yahweh Rapha, my healer. Okay, Raphi actually would be the best way in Hebrew to say that. Possessive, my Raphi, Yahweh Raphi, my healer. Okay, Raphael, Elohim healed. We see that in verse 3. Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the Ruach or spirits of men. And I told you, when people die, the spirits are taken to where they belong, either for the righteous one place, the wicked another place, and Raphael is in charge of that. Reuel, what they are calling Raguel, friend of Elohim. Reuel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of luminaries. We are going by the Ethiopic version, and you have seen why. Michael, Mika means who is like El. Okay, Mika means who is like. And you see a lot of our songs in Bantu, Swahili, and also our tribe of God from South Africa. They like to say, who nani afanana nawe, who is like you. Afanana nawe, you hear a lot of their songs talking about who is like you. That Mika, who is like, Mika means who is like, and then El refers to Elohim, who is like Elohim, who is like our God. Okay, Michael, one of the holy angels, set over the present and upon the goodliest men and over the nation of Israel. So we know the present and the goodliest, those are the saints, and those are the children of Israel. Sarakiel, vine of Elohim. So Sarak is vine. Sarakiel, one of the holy angels who is over the Ruach or spirits who transgress or sin in the mind, that is iniquity. Gabriel. Gabriel refers to my light. I told you E, finishing with that E there, transliteration E, that's possessive, first person possessive, yeah. So Gabriel meaning my might. Okay, Gabriel, Elohim is my might, my strength, nguvu yangu. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is over the Garden of Eden, and the dragons or serpents and the cherubim. We see that Luke 1:19, and this is where he came to Mary, Virgin Mary, to tell her that she should be with child. So any camp or anybody teaching that the virgin birth is, I don't know, is borrowed from heathens, that person is not speaking by the Spirit of God. Okay, do not be misled by those kind of teachings or camps or groups. Well, it's very blasphemous what they teach. Actually, they perpetrate the same kind of thing that we see in in the Gospel of Nicodemus, and even the Gospels. When you read about the Caiaphas, the high priest Caiaphas, that's what they were claiming. They were renouncing Jesus. They said he was a biological son of Joseph. So that spirit is at work in some of the camps or groups, even some of them alluding to Christ, gathering of Christ or whatever, but they teach that Christ was born out of a physical relationship, which is blasphemous. All right, because they attribute the work of the Holy Spirit to human, carnality. Yeah. Ramiel, Elohim is elevated. All right. Ramiel, one of the holy angels who rejoiced to Elohim over the resurrection, and it makes sense. He rejoiced that Elohim is risen. He's above. He's risen, So that's beautiful. All right. Those are the 7 holy archangels. All right. This is a beautiful summary, and I hope you're being blessed as you go through this. So, see, the Most High said to Enoch or Hanok that these books will be revealed to us in the last days, and we shall share them with our people. And you get blessed when you see that, because all you knew, or all we knew from Eurocentric Christianity was what? Gabriel and Michael. And they never even taught us all this. And again, you have seen what they had the books. They were hiding the books of Enoch. And what were they doing? They were snitching some verses out, taking out some of the names of the archangels and things like that, then shuffling the verses. You've seen that for yourself. Yeah. Deceiving the world. Yeah. And someone will come and tell you there is going to be edification for them. Well, let me not digress. Let me conclude. I wanted it to be focused on, I wanted to stay on topic, okay, by the grace of God. And I think we're doing good. Concluding here. So what have we seen? We have seen that some of the scriptures have been manipulated. All right. Psalms 104, not Psalms. First book of Enoch, chapter 104, verse 7 said what? Now will I point out a mystery. Many sinners. So who are these people writing Bible, publishing Bibles and tweaking them? They are sinners. They are sinners. That's what the scriptures call them. NIV, one of the most popular Bible translations, that when you go to Bible school, they give you that. Is a standard. That book is, it's been manipulated. It's written by who? Rupert Murdoch is the publisher, the one of Fox News. You figure that one out. Fox News founder or whatever. He is the publisher behind NIV, and he's one of them who call themselves Jews but are not. So what have they done with NIV? They removed any reference to black being the children of Israel and other things. They have snitched out even whole script verses. So anyway, that fulfills what? The first book of Enoch, chapter 104, verse 7. Now will I put out a mystery. Many sinners shall turn and transgress against the word of uprightness. Okay? And we saw that in the Sefer, which is also written by one of them claiming to be a Jew when he's not. They took the fact that Michael is set over the nation of Israel, and they say that he commands all the nations. Yeah, they include themselves. They replace the true Israelites. Also in the Sefer, they call Reuel, Reguel, semantics, whatever. But we see that, and they also say that he inflicts punishment on the world and the luminaries, contrary to what we saw in the Ethiopic version. So the Ethiopic version says Gabriel is my strength. Gabriel, Elohim is my strength, is over the dragons, and the Sefer describes them as serpents. So that's a minor kind of dragons and serpents, not very far off. Okay, but dragon is Satan. and dragons are Satans. Do you know there is plural Satan? Satan means adversary. That's why, watch, how did Jesus or Yahushua Mashiach rebuke Kepha or Petrus? He told him, "Get thee behind me, Satan." A lot of Christians today would take offense when you rebuke them like that. "Oh, you just call me Satan." Yeah. Yep. Is because it is the spirit of the adversary speaking. So when the spirit of adversary speaks through someone, they can be called Satan. That's why Isaiah 14, referring to Babylon, America, and Edom, Esau, it refers to them as who? Illuminati, or the Lucifer, the luminaries, fake luminaries. And some people confuse that with Satan. Another teaching for another day. Okay, the world was deceived about how the angels look like, and that there is only 2 holy archangels. Yeah, this is a depiction by the Ethiopians, some of our fellow Israelites above, built in the 18th century angel faces, winged Ethiopian cherubs. They're calling them Ethiopian cherubs. Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, opposite Ethiopia fresco of the angel Gabriel. So you see that they depict look at the hair. That's the hair is not afro there, woolly hair. But anyway, in the book of let me take you there. Let's go to right here. Okay, Ezekiel. I quote this in some of the videos where I show the holy angels. When you go to Ezekiel 1:7, watch, and everyone is talking about the holy angels that Ezekiel saw, and everyone had 4 faces and everyone had 4 wings. Okay, verse 7, watch. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Burnished brass. Burnished brass. That is, dark complexion. Okay, that's a dark complexion. The holy angels have that kind of complexion. Okay, they shine just like even Yahushua Mashiach. They shine like because of the halo of glory. They'll shine, or you see the chariots shining because of the light and all that. But when you look at their skin complexion, you see burnished brass. You see the Most High being described as looking like a jasper, a stone that is dark complexion. So but you can read this. I have alluded to this chapter many times when I'm recording the holy angels. All right, wrapping up. So here we are, and this is the very last one here. I think I've already alluded to these ones here, and I don't want to get into a technical situation like last time. I'm telling you the last minute that I did this teaching and completed it, and the last minute when I was saving it, it acted up, and this is just what happened. Right now, I don't want to go into presentation mode because that's where it acted up. Let me just quickly bring this. It looks a little bit noisy, but don't worry. We see more revelations about the 7 holy archangels. What we are seeing here is Revelation 1:20, the mystery of the 7 stars. And then we see Revelation 8:1 and 2. When he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels, not 5, not 6, there were 7, which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. Okay, what did we see in 1 Thessalonians 4:16? That the Lord will come with the trump of the archangels. So they were given trumpets there. Interesting connection. The mystery of the 7 stars, not 5, not 6, 7. Okay, which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks, The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou showest are the 7 churches. Not 5, not 6. Okay, we have actually the presentation is here. Anyway, let me go back to that. So anyway, we see that. So 7 stars which thou sawest. All right. This is Revelation 1:20. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches. So 7 archangels, not 5, not 6, like those 2 scriptures are showing. Okay, those are the 7 candlesticks. Talking about the candlesticks. Okay, now candlesticks, you know what? Sometimes if you are very observant, you'll notice that there's people who are in the Holy Land or elsewhere claiming to be us and they are not, claiming to be Jews but they are not. Their candlesticks have, instead of 7, like this is the menorah. Okay, this is the menorah I have here. It has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 branches and the middle one. So this is a menorah. But when you look at some of those people who call themselves Jews but they are not, they'll have one that has 9 branches instead of 7. Now the one with 9, that is not even called a menorah, it's called a menucha, and it's Babylonian. That they are showing you in their face that they are not the people. You watch, look at even their politicians, when they show the menorah, this lampstand, they'll have a 9 branched one. That's not a menorah, it's a menucha, and that is Babylonian, it's blasphemous, and they are showing you to your face that they are not the people. Those are the heathens trampling the Holy Land until the days of the Gentiles or the heathens be complete. Okay, so menorah, the golden lampstand, will have 7 branches, not 9. The one with 9 is a menucha, and that is blasphemous. It is an abomination. All right, so this is I put it upright. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those are the 7 holders of the lamps or the wicks, all right. 7 branch, not 9. And the 9 one is a menucha. This is a menorah. All right. So anyway, wrapping up here, I think yeah, we're pretty much done here, but I want to go back and kind of do a closing. Let's stay here. Let's stay here. Let's stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. I want to wrap up this beautiful teaching, and we're going to go back to this book right here. Okay, very quickly. In closing, in the book of Genesis, we are given much detail about what Elohim created within the earth. This is actually in the book, the books of Enoch that I'm reading, the Ethiopic version. Okay, it's some of the pages here. So in the book of Genesis, we are given much detail about what Elohim created within the earth. We are told of the waters, the firmament, the land, the luminaries, plants and animals, and finally man. I read a little bit of that from the book of Jubilees, but I didn't go to the second day of creation. Okay, absent from these details, absent from Genesis. Okay, absent from these details are what and who was created to occupy heaven. And we saw that in Jubilees. Okay, it's a part of it. And then of course these other books that I've just shown you in this whole teaching. The second chapter of Genesis begins with the verse, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them." This verse implies with the word host that there are also living creatures in heaven as well. And if you have watched my teaching on the 10 heavens, then you're up to speed with all this. You're up to date with that knowledge. Okay, so this verse implies with the word host that there are also living creatures in heaven as well. The Hebrew word for host in this verse is Saba. Saba. This is a study, and this is Bet and Aleph, and then when you add the Nikud, you know, the vowels, which is Strong Concordance number 6635, transliterated as Saba, Saba, ta, like ta. The first one is the Sadi is kind of explosive, like our Gadites in South Africa do that very well. Saba, our Swahili Saba, and meaning whole creation army or hosts of angels. So the heavenly host refers to the holy angels. Even when I allude to that in some of my recordings of holy angels. Within this verse, we are told that Yahweh has an army of angels in heavens. Notice that he created in the beginning. We saw already from the same books of Enoch here, that there's 10 heavens. And we saw the various holy angels found in each heaven. Okay? So, while the book of Genesis is ambiguous when speaking of angels and the creatures of heaven, Enoch goes to great lengths when describing this subject in his book. Throughout the Bible, we are given several instances where men and women came into contact with archangels. We saw 2 in the so-called Bible, 66 books. But we saw that in the hidden scriptures that are now being revealed in fulfillment to what the Most High told Enoch or Hanok, we saw there is more than 2, there is 7 archangels, holy archangels. Okay? So throughout the Bible, we are given several instances where men and women came into contact with archangels. Enoch describes these angels as watchers. The Bible also describes them as chief princes of the angels. Remember, go back to the teaching on the 12 orders of holy angels, okay? Enoch or Hanok tells us that there are 7 holy archangels. He also tells us their names and their individual responsibilities. These 7 archangels are the same 7 archangels mentioned in the book of Revelation as being the angels of the 7 churches. They are also the same 7 angels mentioned as before the throne of Elohim. All right, I think we have seen those in the scripture that we just looked at in the book of Revelation. Okay, so let's continue here and kind of wrap it up. Okay, so the world and Sheol. Oh, the first one, did we miss? Yes, we did miss here. Okay, so the first archangel listed in the book of Enoch chapter 20 is Uriel. Elohim is my light. He's described as being responsible he's described as being responsible for the world and Sheol or hell. Again, I told you, if you see anybody teaching that there's no physical hell, there's something wrong with them. We saw that also in the book of Jubilees, that hell was created in the first day. They are based, This is also the same angel who spoke with the prophet Ezra or Esdras in the book of 2nd Esdras. Being that Uriel is responsible for hell, one can assert that it is him being described in the book of Revelation as coming down from heaven with keys to the bottomless pit to bind Satan for 1,000 years. What is he referring to in Esdras? Okay, let me show you very quickly here. 2nd Esdras, in the King James Bible online, there you have Apocrypha restored. I'll come back to that. In the meantime, the second archangel listed is Raphael. Elohim healed. He's described as being responsible for the spirit of men. The angel appeared to the prophet Tobit and his son Tobias in the book of Tobit, which is in the Greek Septuagint, the Latin Vulgate, the 1611 King James Bible, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. When speaking of himself, he says, I'm Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels, not 5, not 6, which present the prayers of the saints and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. Now remember the teaching I did on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is not an apple, or was not an apple. In that, and also the other teaching on what the holy angels take back to heaven, you'll see how our prayers are handled by holy angels. Okay, so these holy angels, they handle the prayers of the saints, and we know who the saints are from Psalms 148 verse 14, and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. This verse confirms that there are indeed 7 holy archangels, and it also tells us a few additional responsibilities of these angels, being that we are told that the archangels present the prayers of the saints to Elohim, and that Raphael is responsible for the spirits of men. We can formulate a theory that it is Raphael being described through, though not named in Revelation 8:3, as offering a golden censer of incense, which was the prayers of the saints upon the golden altar before the throne of Elohim. This is beautiful. This is the one I should have been using. Okay, so I was going to show you 2nd Esdras. You see what happened? Other books popped up when you go to the 1611 version, not just the regular King James. Okay, so we have Tobit, the one that was just mentioned right here. Very interesting book that talks about Tobit and the Archangel Gabriel, where they caught a fish and all that, how it was used to drive away a demon that was keeping Tobit's cousin from getting married. So some people get offended by that, and that shows they are not part of the wise who are given these hidden books. Okay, let me show you 2nd Esdras. Come on, 2nd Esdras. And I'm going to take you to chapter 14 very quickly, and I'll take you to verse 39, I believe. Look, the holy angel talking to Esdras here is Uriel, okay? And so let me go to verse 44. In the 40 days they wrote 204 books. And it came to pass, when the 40 days were fulfilled, that the highest, the most high, spake, saying, the first that thou hast written, publish openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read. The first books, okay? But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among thy people. Here they tweak a little bit. It's supposed to be thy people, the children of Israel. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountains of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. And I did so. So how many books were written? 204 books. Then 70 out of those, Esdras was told to hide. Keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among thy people. And this actually corroborates what we see in the book of Enoch, chapter 104, verse 10 onwards, and what we saw in the book of the Sixes of Enoch, chapter 11, verse 99, the Most High himself saying that. Okay, so here we see in King James 1611 version, we see the Apocrypha restored, and we also see the book of Tobit. A very interesting book here, and it talks about the holy Archangel Gabriel and how he walked with Tobit and all that. I don't want to digress too much, so let's go back to here. So the archangels there. The third archangel listed is Ruel, friend of Elohim. He is described as being responsible for taking vengeance on the world of the luminaries. In the book of Job, Yahweh, when rhetorically questioning Job to teach him of his mortality, asks him, canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Pleiades and Orion are both star luminaries or constellations. Now, where did we see about constellations? The 8th and 9th heavens. Remember, look at the teaching on the 10 heavens. Okay, being that Orion is described as needing to be loosed and Pleiades is described as needing to be bound, one can hypothesize that Ruel would be the angel that would be assigned to this task, since he's responsible for the world of the luminaries. So this is the world of stars. And actually, when you look at some of the chapters in the book of Enoch, and not even some of the chapters, the very chapter we are looking at, I think, I'm not positive about that, but in one of the chapters, when you go there, you'll find that Enoch found some stars that were bound under punishment. Let me show you. Let me actually go show you. Yeah, right here. If they have not tweaked it, okay. Okay, look here. Look. And I went round to a place where nothing was made, and I saw a terrible thing, neither the high heaven nor the firm ground, but a desert place prepared and terrible. And there I saw 7 stars of heaven bound on it together like great mountains and burning like fire. Then I said, for what sin have they been bound, and why have they been thrown here? And Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and led me, spoke to me and said, Enoch, about whom do you ask? About whom do you inquire, ask, and care? These are the same stars which transgressed the command of the Lord Most High, and they have been bound here until 10,000 ages are completed, the number of days of their sin. All right, you see that? So we see that it is the luminaries. You know, they were trying to tweak and say the world in charge of what? The punishment of the world and the luminaries. That was their own addition. But anyway, you have seen that for yourself. All right. Let's quickly move on here. The 4th archangel listed is Michael, who is like Elohim. He is described as being responsible for the present and goodliest man of the nation of Israel. We now know that. While Enoch does not mention what nation is being discussed, the prophet Daniel writes that this nation is Israel. But you know, say the Kefa, Sifa Bible, Sifa, and others, they try to include other nations. Daniel informs us that Michael stands for the children of Israel. Yeah, Daniel 12:1. Michael is also the angel along with his army of holy angels who fought with Satan and his fallen angels in the beginning and had them cast out of heaven as described in the book of Revelation. The 5th angel listed is Rachiel, vine of Elohim. He is described as being responsible over the spirits that sin in the mind, iniquity. Yahushua, when teaching on the fact that sin begins in the heart and mind, gave a parable of what would happen to those who are angry with their brother without a cause. He stated that these people are guilty of murder and advises agree with the adversary quickly whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Being that this is a parable and each character mentioned is symbolic, the adversary is the devil who can accuse you if you commit sin. The judge is Elohim, and the officer who is exacting out punishment of this sin that is in the mind is Sarakiel, the prisoner. The prison represents hell. Okay. The 6th angel listed is Gabriel. Elohim is my might. Remember, Gabri, my might. El, Elohim. He is described as being responsible for the Garden of Eden, the dragons, and the cherubims. Look at the teaching on the 12 orders of the holy angels. This tells us that Gabriel is the one who assigned the cherubims with the flaming swords to stand and guard the Garden of Eden when Adam was cast out. Gabriel also the one who delivered the good news to Mary, we saw in the book of Luke, that she was pregnant with Hamashiach, Yahushua Hamashiach. He's also the angel that told Joseph to forego putting Mary away when he found her pregnant. Why was Joseph wanting to put Mary away? Because he was not responsible for the pregnancy. Now you get some camps, some people, elders, whatever, telling us that Joseph was responsible for the pregnancy. That is what, I don't have even words to describe that. That's heretic nonsense. Where they want to be right, but the Bible be wrong, or the scriptures be wrong. You know, don't follow those kind of people. Lastly, the 7th archangel listed by Enoch is Ramiel. Elohim is elevated. He is described as rejoicing to Elohim over the resurrection. Knowing this, we can now ascertain that he is the angel who rolled back the stone of Yahushua's grave and sat on it. He may perhaps be the angel who had a countenance like lightning and had raiment that was white like snow. It is okay, so the raiment will look like that, but the skin looks like burnished or polished brass. Remember that. It is likely that he is the very angel that also delivered the good news of Yahushua's resurrection from the dead to Mary Magdalene, Salome, and the other Mary. This angel, who will to be Ramiel, said, "Fear not, ye, for I know that ye seek Yahushua, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen." And he said, "Come, see the place where our Adon, our Lord, lay." Okay. Adon is, the Lord and King. The angels are present before Yahushua's throne. These angels, these seven, holy archangels, are present before Yahushua's throne and do many of the most important tasks in heaven and in earth. Now that we know their names and their duties, we can understand the heavenly realm in a much more intimate way. And we've already seen the teaching about the 10 heavens, and I'll be continuing with that on another teaching. And it's about time I wrap this up. It's so beautiful. So actually, let me re-emphasize this, that Uriel is the angel in Revelation 20 verse 1, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So it will not be a fallen angel coming with the keys of the bottomless pit. It is a holy angel doing that, and that holy angel is Uriel. All right, so beautiful. All right, so we're gonna kind of wrap it up here, and with this I'm gonna say Kwame Sharel Barakadam Bishbaka Ovim Shalom. Yes, Shabbat Shalom. And Erev Tov for those who are watching this in the evening, and Boker Tov for those who are watching this in the morning or during the day. Yom Tov. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom. I'm going to kind of have to leave it at this point, and I exited from the presentation mode because I don't want it to act up like last time. I don't want to lose this beautiful teaching. And once again, Kwame Shorel, Barakadam Mishpaka Ahuvim, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Erev Tov for those of you watching this in the evening, and Boker Tov for those who are waking up to watch this. Shalom Aleichem. Hallelujah. Welcome. Now here we are looking at the icon of the crucifixion, and as you can see, despite any attempts for them to tweak, you can clearly tell that the complexion of Christ, Yahushua, is black or brown, not white. See, that's a white garment. And this is an icon from Moscow, Russia, the Annunciation Cathedral. So you can see the complexion of Christ. Even when they try to tweak the things, to change the painting, it's impossible to change everything. So you can see the complexion of Christ in contrast with that white garment there. And most importantly, and before I get to that, look at the complexion of the disciples and the mother of Jesus and the other ladies who were there. They are all so-called black or brown skin, yeah? Alright, see them there? Alright. And coming back up here, there's something I want to highlight in connection with this teaching. When you look at the holy angels right here, look at all the holy angels here. Look at their complexion. They are all depicted in the same way as Jesus, which is what you call black. Actually, like some of them, the hair has not been tampered with. You can see the hair, Negro hair, very clear. But the complexion is what I want you to see. Their skin complexion is what you call black or brown. Black is a shade of brown, or brown is a shade of black, whichever way you want to look at that. But take note of that the holy angels, the Lord Jesus Christ, God the Father, and the children of Israel are also called black. All right, so bear that in mind. Please like and share this video, and subscribe to the Bantu Hebrew Israelites Awakening channel for automatic notification of future uploads of videos. Shalom Aleichem. In this amazing book from Russia, painted within the Annunciation Cathedral, back in the 15th century. The crucifixion, this icon of the crucifixion, shows Jesus in the white garment, dark-skinned, as the Bible describes in Revelation chapter 1 verse 14 and 15. The Israelites as well, dark-skinned, as we see in Jeremiah 14 verse 2, Lamentations 4:8, Job 30:30, all in King James Version, before it was manipulated through translations. True Israelites, Negroes, Bantus, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Shalom Aleichem.